Welcome back, my dear lovelies. Welcome back. Today is March 12th. We are continuing with our Sigil Precept, and we are in the seasons of level 3. Last time we talked about spring and summer. This time we're going to talk about autumn or fall and winter. So, for those of you who have the book and the workbook, if you will go to your book, page 40 to 41, your workbook is going to be page 73 to 82. Okay. I hope that things have been well for you all. We are now seeing a little bit more sun later during the day. To give you an idea, I was out the other day, and actually yesterday it was 6:30, and there was still sun shining, and it made my heart just so happy. Like, yay, it's coming back. So we are, as I said, we had talked about spring and summer. We did some spring work and some summer work, and we're going to talk about autumn and winter this time. So as we move through the cycle, and we said that each season is 3 months generally. Okay. When we come to September and October here in Michigan, the colors are really beginning to become multi-dimensional and starting to get their hues. And they're going to be coming in fully in end of October, first part of November. But the colors of the trees and some of the grasses, that multi-dimensional hues of oranges and yellows and browns and reds and touches of green throughout. It's one of my favorite times simply to go look. Long ago, I don't do it much anymore, but long ago, we used to take family trips just to the countryside. And I remember this one place we always went, and it was a highway, and then off on the highway, there was a rest stop. And as we're traveling to the rest stop, which was up on a bit of a hill, you were traveling along and you had nothing but gullies and small hills, and you had these beautiful colors of trees, and we go along the road, and we always made sure we were on the outside so that lane so we could see. And I remember going over this bridge, and there was a river in between, and watching that bit of river flowing faster and a bit of white caps just bringing through the colors, and then getting, as we go up the hill in order to go in, and just this whole amount of beauty pulling into this rest stop and seeing the trees. And then I was so excited to get out, and we'd usually pack a picnic, getting out and going and sitting at one of the picnic tables, and the smell of the earth at that time, just of the fall leaves, and seeing some of the leaves fall, absolutely just phenomenal, amazing. And it made my heart soar to see all that. And I still remember that as we grew up. That's what we did. That was our way of enjoying the season, or going out and raking the leaves. And who doesn't love to rake leaves and jump into them, right? And that smell, that earthy, moist smell, and of the leaves passing, but the beauty and the color of them. It's a magical time of year. The wheel has turned, and the cooler days and nights are coming, and a variety of those colors, the russets, the reds, the browns, the orange, the yellows. And as I said, we had our yard cleanups when I was younger. As a little girl, we had our yard cleanups every year. But, jumping into that pile, just, it was just amazing. The crunching of the leaves underneath my feet. I still do that to this day. My dad and I will work in the yard, and the crunching of the leaves under the feet. And yes, they do annoy me once in a while. They get in areas they're not supposed to, and it is a lot of work. But just having that, that crunch, and the colors, and then knowing that hot cocoa and hot cider is coming, because after we would get home from our picnics and stuff, we'd have a hot cup of cocoa or a hot cup of apple cider, and just that smell, the cinnamons, the nutmegs, and everything that was affiliated with fall. So I think that's one of the reasons why fall, autumn, kind of holds that mystery and that magic to me yet, was because of, and that's what I equate it with, is joy, happiness of changing. I'm not looking forward to winter, especially this winter. I'm sure you guys are in the same boat I am. But knowing that beauty is there, that's my favorite part. And when my husband and I had moved out of Michigan, we had moved to Portland, Oregon, a very beautiful place. Don't get me wrong. Portland, Oregon is very beautiful. So was Washington we had visited, and so was the other many states that we visited. But when we lived in Oregon for 3.5 years, I missed the colors of the trees changing. I missed that big time. When we came back from Oregon to Michigan, it made me happier to see the colors, to see that I'm like, oh, I'm home. So yeah. A lot of the time, the sense of energy, the sense of the way, and tuning into that during fall, things are starting to calm down. They're starting to relax. The earth is stretching and settling, getting ready for that long sleep of winter. During this time, the harvest is usually done. The crops are generally through. There might be a few squash and pumpkins left. And during this time, we feast again. We have Thanksgiving. We have times of being thankful. And our ancestors did this, to gather, to be thankful for what they were given. That's one of the reasons why there's Thanksgiving, to be thankful of the bounty of what the earth has given them, of their hard work, of their thanks. And they'd share it with friends and family because of that time. Those that helped us, we would share our meals, share our lives with. We'd thank them. This is all that time of thanks. And those that are like me, I used to gather a lot. I used to dehydrate and can. I don't can as much anymore. Dehydrate, I still do. And I preserve. When we do that, what we're doing is we're preserving some of that energy that we had from the spring, from the summer, when we do those canning and the preserving and stuff in the autumn and the fall. We're preserving some of that richness, some of that food, and it's really an energy based. We're reserving that and preserving that, canning, dehydrating, whatever, to bring that in during the darker days of winter. And that's exactly what our ancestors did. We're conserving our energy by, eating these things to remind ourselves that winter is not forever. To me, fall is a time to begin to look inward to yourself, to see what it is I've gained, to see what it is, I need to rid myself of, my settling in for winter. And I still do that during the winter. I still kind of look within myself, and I do it throughout the year, but I do a lot of that beginning stuff in autumn, in fall. And I still do it out through winter. But I kind of start getting rid of things within myself. I start getting rid of things in my home, just to kind of prepare. One other thing that I do, I deep clean my house, deep clean, wash my walls and stuff like that 4 times a year: spring, summer, fall, winter. When I deep clean in fall, I try to use scents associated with fall: cinnamon, allspice, gingers, things like that. And because they give me energy. summer is like lemons and oranges, and spring is, and I do apples and falls, and then spring is like fresh flowers. Winter is more like peppermints, spearmints, the mints. But in fall, when I deep clean, I always look at, okay, what scent reminds me of fall? Cranberries, pomegranates, things like that. The things that kind of help me get through. And by physically cleaning my living space, and that includes things, and I go through my closet and stuff in my home, I get rid of things because, yeah, I live a bit of a minimalist life. I clear away the clutter so that I can, and that's my way of getting rid of what no longer is serving me. And then I go within myself, okay, what is it that I've learned? What is it I still need to work on? I start making my lists that I'm going to work through in fall and then work through in winter. And then I'll add more in winter. A lot of the time in fall, I kind of look at, okay, what is it that this year has taught me personally? What is it I need to let go of? What is it I need to understand? What has fallen away? What has taken up my energy and my time more than should? So I list all that. And then I set my goals for the coming year. I celebrate Samhain, also known as Halloween. That's consider like my new year. And I want to make sure everything between autumn and September and October is all set. So September, October, November type thing. Once around Halloween, and I always feel bad for the kids. Usually it's very cold and snowy. Get chillier at night, and I really feel sorry for the little ones. Their little noses and lips turn red and they're cold, and they go out and gather their candies, and watching them, I just love watching the littles, because no matter how cold it is, they still have energy to go out there. They're getting their candies. They work so hard on their outfits, and they're so proud of their outfits, and seeing that. But it's chillier, and but during this little scare fest of this time, the weather is beginning to kind of show, if we pay attention, how bad it's really going to get later on during the winter. My grandma used to tell me an old wives' tale that says that if there is snow in October, then all winter the chill shall keep in the bones. Okay? So if there is snow in October, the chill will stay within our bones all winter. Okay? If snow does not fall until December, then a welcoming December can't talk. If the snow does not fall in December, then a sweltering summer we will remember. And I kind of live by this, I've really seen it come out differently. Both the bane and blessing in Michigan, though, is it's ever changing weather and seasons. Like I said before, wait 5 minutes, it'll change if you don't like it. So that's our fall, and I like that. Again, the beauty of it is just phenomenal. So what is exactly fall or autumn used for? It's for cultivating what it is that you've done throughout the year. Okay, it's also about celebrating. Okay, so going back to cultivating, and we're reaping what we have cleaned out in the physical, the mental, the emotional, and the spiritual levels of self. Whatever work you have put in during the year in these areas, you've cultivated that. Now you're reaping what you've put in, your reward, okay, of your hard work. We also celebrate and dedicate, the dedication we had, the hard work, with this taking of the steps that you needed to do to get where you're at, to reap what you've done, the hard work. So it's cultivating and celebrating. Okay. What we do throughout the year, and how we do what we want to accomplish throughout the year, are a lot of work. I'm not asking people to go out and do 10 things at once. Me, when I first started and understanding and connecting with the seasons, I did like one thing a season because it's overwhelming, and we can get caught up in that. It can become almost an obsession, and then we feel bad that we didn't do it. So I started out with one. Sometimes I go up to 4 or 5, depending on how big they are. My limit usually is 3 things per season, no more. Sometimes it's less, depending on what's going on. 3 things is all I do. And it's always working on physical, mental, and emotional. My spiritual level, once I figured out that if those are good, my spiritual level is usually pretty good. But usually 3 items, and I try to place it into one. To give you an idea, this last year, what I started in fall of last year, I wanted to get rid of physical things in my home that just no longer served its purpose. We moved from a smaller house into a bigger house, and being in the smaller house, and this is a couple of years ago, and being in that smaller house, I had a lot of stuff. And it took up a lot of space, and I lived there like that for a while. But when we moved into the new house, which is bigger, things were, sparsely placed. And I fell in love with that because A, it's easier to clean. B, for me, visually, aesthetically more pleasing. And I don't like a lot of clutter anymore. So what I do physically is I make sure I walk through my house, the whole entire house. I look at my clothes, look at things in storage, I look at things in attics, all of my stuff. Okay, is this really serving a purpose? If not, I'll donate it to somebody else that may want it, or just donate it. I go through my foodstuffs. Is this something that I'm going to eat in the next month or 2? If not, I'll give it to someone. I'll give it to, wherever. So the physical is on that. I also look at myself physically. And I'm like, I kind of need to focus on one thing. I look at, am I sleeping enough? Am I eating well enough? Do I need to lose weight? Things like that. Things for my health, for my health benefit, for my benefit physically. And I'll narrow it down to one thing. And I give myself this, and I name it, give myself the steps, and I give myself an end goal, time frame. Then I look at the emotional. Okay, where am I off emotionally? Am I happy? Am I sad? Am I depressed? I really take a look, and I make adjustments accordingly. But I look at what I'm doing physically or mentally to help my emotional. And that's where I look at the emotion or the mental as well. Am I being too hard on myself? Am I being a little OCD with myself? Am I beating myself up? And I also look at people around me. Okay, is this working? Is this something that is benefiting both of us equally, mentally and emotionally? So I kind of go through that. Do I need to make a change? Again, I make, list the item in that column, and I usually do a column, the steps needed to take, and then an end goal. Usually if I balance the physical, mental, and emotional, the spiritual usually kind of comes into place. It's only been in the last 5 years that I've actually had to work on spiritual twice, instead of one of the other ones. I think I changed out physical with spiritual, to really try to get back. And that was one of my main things this last year too. But I usually try to do 3, no more than 4. So if you want to do 1 for each, don't do 3 each or 4 each, because I guarantee you it will drive you nuts. One big thing, and maybe this is, where you're at, we beat ourselves up when we don't accomplish our goals. Usually the reason that happens is we have unrealistic goals set for ourselves. And when we do that, we automatically fail before we even begin because our mind cannot process the amount of what we want to do because we become overwhelmed. One goal, just one, is much easier to deal with than 10. And sometimes if you look at the 10 goals that you have set, really analyze them, it breaks down to one goal. To give you an example, a really good friend of mine, she would come to me once and she would make a goal that she would like to do once a year. She had 10 things on there, minimum 10 things. To give you an idea, her 10 things once a year, and this is a few years back, she wanted to lose weight. She wanted a new wardrobe. She wanted a new hairstyle. She wanted to learn to do her makeup differently. She wanted to eat, better, eat more healthy food, become a vegetarian or vegan, I think at the time. She wanted to travel. She wanted to learn more. She wanted to teach, and she wanted to work with her spirituality more. I looked at her and I said, honey, you want to travel. You want to eat better. You want new clothes. I said, this is all your physical. This is all one thing physical. You want a better body image for yourself. You want self-care. And she's like, no. It's this, it's this. I'm like, but the thing is it boils down to one in each category. Physical would literally be work on self. Work on self. Mental would be learn something new and apply it. Spiritual was for her to travel. That's where she got her inspiration at. Like, all these is just one in each category. You come with this huge list. And I said, you do this every year. And sadly, at the end of the year, you only got 2 or 3 things done. You're beating yourself up during that time because you feel so bad that you failed. I'm like, you're one person, and over inundating yourself with all these things, really makes you sad. You're not getting anything done because you literally are doing too much. You become overwhelmed. And the instant that happens, your body just stops. So I tell you, people, and I did that many times until I realized one thing is easier to do than 10,000. And I feel better and I feel more accomplished. And once I get that accomplished, if I want to add something more, I can. Doing one thing at a time and getting it done, so much easier on your body, your mind, your mentality, all of it, your accomplishments, than doing 10 or more. I promise you, sweethearts. It's hard. We don't have a map, but we throw things at ourselves, gotta get all this done. At the end of the day, what do you actually have done? And how bad do you feel you don't have it done? It's not worth it. It's not worth it. So, in fall, think about fall, okay? And I'm going to go through, and this is part of your homeworks. How have you cultivated or reaped what you have cleared from your life in the physical? Okay? And then, once you think of that, how are you or how will you celebrate that? Okay, we're making this list for next fall. And then we're going to do the same thing for emotional, mental, and spiritual. How have you cultivated or reaped what you've cleared from your life in each of those levels? And how are you going to celebrate in each of those levels? Okay? The other thing we're going to talk about is winter. And when we look at, the ever-changing seasons of Michigan, we have to look at winter. This winter, I don't know about you all, but this winter has been rough. I have seen a few of my friends really, struggling with winter this year. It's been very dark and it seems very, very, very long this year. And I hope you're feeling better. If you've been going through something, I hope that you are feeling better and that you've gotten help if you need it. This has been a very rough winter for many. people, it's been really rough this year. When the wheel turns again and winter comes upon us with its, white and ice-laden rainstorms, a chill that can take your breath away, and a snow that can bury a house to its rafters overnight, with snow and ice, and all of this happens. Winds and everything else. Winter is dangerous. A lot of people will tell you that, a lot of the places that you drive in winter is dangerous. Driving in the snow, driving in the ice, driving in the rain, driving in the wind. Me personally, I would rather in the summertime or spring drive in the rain than I would in the winter. And I live in an odd area, and I love it. Don't get me wrong, it's beautiful. But in order to get to my house, you have to go down a dip by the river and come back up, and you sometimes have to drive on the very side of the road to get traction. Pulling out of my driveway, I get stuck 9 times out of 10. Going into the small little town that's by me, I have to go down a pretty deep, by the river kind of dip, and pray I get back up. I've had to and I've driven since I was 19. I've had to in the last two years or so learn how to redrive in winter around here. The roads can be plowed, but not that well. Sometimes our main road to get to a highway or a main busier road or just to get to town, it's been plowed at, not plowed. And again, I love the little town I live in. I love the place I live in, but I've had to relearn how to winter drive. And my biggest thing is, and people get so mad at me this, if I have to go somewhere, I will take extra time to get there, and I will putt. I will get there safely. I will putt. To me, my rule of thumb is there's a double line for a reason. If you don't like the way I drive, if I'm driving too slow with my flashers on, taking every precaution, because I do not want to be in the ditch. I don't want to hurt someone else, especially. I'd rather hurt myself going into a ditch than I would somebody else that's in my car or somebody else that's on the road. And I drive slow with flashers until there's an area that I know it's clearer and cleaner. There's a double line. If you wish to pass me, you go right ahead. I will make sure that I maintain my slow speed to make you go. You are on, you're more than welcome. But I'm going to drive at the speed that I am most comfortable with to make sure that I can get where I am going to safely. And I only go out if I absolutely need to when it's bad. And it's sad because, a lot of people look at that as, oh, you drive like a grandma. Okay. If that means that I'm taking my time, I'm being safe, yeah. Because the areas that I live and the areas that I have to drive, they are ice covered, snow covered, sometimes snow over top of ice. That road can look absolutely clear, and it can be an ultimate sheet of ice where nobody can drive more than 10 miles an hour, and that's pushing it. So yeah, winter I've had to relearn. But why, looking at this in a different sense, in a different perspective with winter, we're preparing for the deeper, dark aspects of the nighttime when the world is asleep, covered in her blanket of snow. We're preparing ourselves, going into the Yule season, going into Christmas, going into those type of times. And sadly, it doesn't stop until usually February-ish. And that's when, winter really reaches its peak, is usually in February. When that time comes, lambs are being born. The seeds are soon going to be planted, and the spring will soon be upon us, and bringing upon the winds of promises of warmth on the winds, The sun is beginning to shine and the smells of summer blooms, but winter has to happen. And I learned this a long time ago from my grandparents. Winter has to happen. It's horrible. There are more people that suffer depression throughout winter. It is horrible. My heart just breaks because I know, and I'm right there with you. Winter is the most depressing time of the year. We're alone. We're separated. We're unable to get out. But sadly, at the same time, winter has to happen in order for the world to spring new again, and psychologically for us to appreciate what we have. So those of you that suffer, please know that my heart reaches out to you. Please, 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 please remember, it is hard. I understand that wholeheartedly, but reach out and get the help you need. Okay? So we have the magic of the turning wheel through the 4 seasons. And if we take a moment, see the beauty and sometimes the reason behind each of the seasons of this spoke, witnessing the most magical of times, transformation, growth, change, beauty, love, but most of all, endurance, because that's what we do. We endure. We are such an amazing species to endure. We go through so much, and we endure. So what is autumn a time for? Harvesting of the crops, conserving your energy, celebrating what we have, cultivating, lasting friendships, deepening our connections with those friendships. It's about connections. It's about being thankful. Winter is a time for banishing your bad habits and addictions, a time for introspection, a time for reading, for meditation, and for resting. Going within to learn about self and to work better on yourself. Meditate on your life and make plan on its betterment. September, October, and November is autumn, is fall. December, January, February is winter. These are hard areas to work on. And if we look at that and kind of figure out what it is we want to do each season based on that information, it kind of helps us to try to plan better. So part of your homework for the next 2 weeks is going to be work on the goals that you placed on these worksheets for spring, summer, autumn, and winter. Okay? And at home, I want you to add your vision and manifestation, but what is it you want to bring in? Okay? So I'm going to show you an idea. Okay? And I will explain it, even though I show it to you. Okay? You ready? Want you to see this? I have a bad camera. We're going to do columns. Okay? We're going to do columns. This is part of your worksheet. Okay? So we're going to do a column. Okay? And you should have already done this, but we're going to do it just in case you haven't. We're going to do 5 columns this way. Okay? Then we're going to do 4 crossed this way. Okay? And your first column is going to be season. Under seasons, you're going to put spring, summer, autumn, or fall, whichever you wish to call it, and then winter. The next column is energies. So under the spring, under energies, put a time for healing, for purifying. Think spring cleaning, okay? Paying down debts, fertility, and it could be any type of fertility, what you want to manifest and bring into your life. And then planting the harvest. Under summer, and that season in the summer, next to summer, for energies, we're going to put a time for love, beauty, passion, courage, friendships, physical energies, and strengths. Okay? Under energies for autumn, a time for money, employment, and buying any new possessions. Okay? Under the energies for winter, a time for banishing bad habits, addictions, a time for introspection, reading, meditating, and resting. Okay? Going back to spring, the next column after energies is going to be reflections. Then after the reflections, we have timing. After timing, we have holidays and celebration. Okay? So spring's timing is going to be March, April, and May. Okay? And you can do, Easter or whatever you wish for spring. For summer, the timing is June, July, and August. And it's like Independence Day and things like that. For autumn, the timing is September, October, November. You can do Halloween and Thanksgiving for the celebrations. Winter, timing, December, January, February, like Christmas and New Year's. For those of you that celebrate, looking at Yule and involved. Going back to reflections for spring, in that column for spring. Freshness, renewal of life. Ridding yourself of the old and welcoming anything old. You have to rid yourself of something in order to bring in something. Okay, so rid yourself of a negativity and then plant something positive within yourself for the coming year. Okay. For summer reflections, bonfires, romance, making new connections, any type of connections new, tending to your gardens, and that includes not just your physical gardens, but what you're planting here within yourself too. Gathering and releasing positive energies into the world. Okay. For the reflections for autumn, harvesting of the crops, and that literally means physical as well as self, conserving your energy a little bit, celebrating what we have, cultivating lasting friendships, and deepening our connections. For winter, banish all bad habits and addiction, go within, learn about yourself, and work to better yourself. Meditate on your life and make plans for betterment. Okay? So that's that part. Now, get another sheet of paper. Okay? I want you to do 6 columns down. Okay? First column, season. Second column, energies. Third column, reflections. Fourth column, timing. Fifth column, goals. Last column, steps to accomplish. Okay? Now that you have your 6 columns, across this way, you're going to do 4 columns. Okay? Underneath season, in that first horizontal column, write spring. Underneath spring for the next, under the same season, write summer. Okay? Next column this way, under summer, still in season, write autumn or fall. Okay? Next one, under autumn, fall, going this way again, still in season, that column season, write winter. Okay? Under energies for spring. Okay? Under energies just for spring area, healing, purifying, fertility, debts, planting. Okay? You ready? Still in spring, going across this way, in reflections. Okay? Do renewal, rid self. Okay? Timing, March, April, and May for spring. Okay? Now go down to summer, where we have that seasons this way and summer this way. Under energies, put courage, passion, friendships, strength, physical. Okay? Under reflections, still in summer, under reflections column, new connections, tending to self and gardens. Okay. Timing is going to be June, July, and August. Okay. Next area, going back to seasons this way. We're going to look at autumn or fall going this way. Okay. So an energies column next to the season of autumn, money, employment, new possessions. Okay. Under the reflections, next to autumn, conserving, celebrating, cultivating friendships, deepen connections. And then under timing is to be September, October, and November. All right. Last one, back down to seasons where winter goes this way. Under energies for winter, banish your habits. Introspection, reading, meditation, and rest. Okay. Under reflections, what is it you want to learn? Learn about self. Meditate on your life. What future plans do you have? And under timing, it's be December, January, and February. Okay. So far, you should have under seasons, energies, reflections, and timing, spring, summer, fall or autumn, and winter. You should have the seasons, the energies, reflections, and timings filled in. Okay. Here comes the hard part. Going back to spring. Okay. Like I said, remember when I told you no more than one to begin with? This is where your goals, and that you when you did, okay? For spring, I want you to think about what we talked about with spring. Time for healing, purifying, cleaning, whatever, okay? This is your energies. You will have 3 months, March, April, and May, to work on one goal related to spring. What is one goal? Knowing what you know about the energies of spring and the reflections of spring. Like, for instance, me, in spring, okay, when spring comes, I know it's time for healing. I know it's time for paying down debts, planting the harvest, renewal, relieving myself of the old and welcoming new. So I'm focusing on paying down one credit card, okay, literally. So March, April, and May, my goal is to have one credit card paid off. And I put that down on my goal for spring. And I named the credit card. And I even put down the amount that I owe. Then in the column it says steps to accomplish. I want you to write step 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, whatever it is for you to accomplish the goal that you've placed for spring. We're going to do that for summer, fall, and winter. So for summer, for mine, as we know, it's a time for love, beauty, friendships, physical energies, romance, connecting, okay? And I have July and August. So one of my goals in summer, okay, is to actually gain strength. I'm going to walk that's one of my goals, to walk. And I want to be able to walk at the end of August, starting in June, end of August. I want to walk 3 miles without hurting. Okay? So literally walk 3 miles. That may seem small to some. For me, it is a massive amount of issue. I run out of breath. I hurt. My feet kill me, but I want to be able to do that. Okay? Steps to accomplish this, start walking and start watching how much I walk. And really be mindful of that and working my way up. Okay? So autumn, fall, our goal. And again, we have September, October, November. New possessions, celebrating what we have, cultivating lasting friendships, deepening our connections. So I want to, by autumn, my goal is to have $500 saved in my savings. My steps to accomplish this, I'm going to put in a certain amount each month. Yeah. So I want to have $500 saved. Winter, my goal, and we have, again, the timing is going to be December, January, and February. A time for banishing habits, introspection, reading, meditation, learn about self, meditate in your life. I have December, January, and February to work on this. My goal for next year, because of course I'm definitely coming out of, is literally to meditate up to 30 minutes twice a week. Because right now I meditate 5-10 minutes a day. It's not enough. I want to do a 30-minute session twice a week. Okay. So that's my goal. Steps to accomplish it. What I need to write down. How do I need to do this? Start setting a time. Once a week, setting my day. Once or twice a week, like I want. Specific days. Start meditating and setting a timer and seeing when my body starts getting too antsy to continue meditating for that long. And then adjusting as I go, so that by the time February comes back around, starting in December, and ending in February, I can be up to 30 times or twice a week, 30 minutes. By doing this, what we're doing is we're utilizing the seasons to our best self and to the best and highest good. And it's hard. It's hard. So yeah. Some of the other things I wanted to touch on too during autumn and winter. I know there's a little bit of winter left, but come spring too. And we still have a little bit of winter that's upon us, even though we're coming out of it. I want you guys to think about spring itself too. We're coming out for this. It's healing, paying down debts, fertility and stuff. One thing that I do, and I realize I haven't done in actually 2 years, is time to kind of clean out my closet, my emotional and mental closet, and connections to my past. It's hard. And that's something that I'm going to be doing in the spring for sure. Even though I'm on this other goal, this is my introspection. And maybe that's something you guys can do too, because I want to be able to rid myself of something that I've been holding dearly upon that is no longer serving me to the highest good. And that's what I intend to do. And maybe that's something you guys can do. What is it that's not serving you to the highest good? You guys are phenomenal. You are amazing. I may not have met you, but you're here for a reason. And you're amazing. You deserve only the best. Only the best. And you have every right to be here and every right to be happy. And I want to see that being happy for you. So think about what we had talked about. We'll be back again in a couple weeks to do the next actual level of the sigil, a portion of it, because I'm breaking down the next level 4 down to 2 parts as well, because I don't want to overwhelm you. We have enough on our plate. But just try to work on these and give yourself a visual. And like I said, with this worksheet, it kind of gives you that visual of what you want to accomplish. Then you can I always write it in pencil in case I want to change it as I plan it for a year. Because something may pop up. You never know. That may take precedence on what you may wrote. But I try to keep this as a visual reminder of what it is I want to accomplish for me. And you have every right to do the same. You are succeeding. You're here. You're succeeding. You're wanted and needed. And you're fantastic people. And I only want the best for you. I only want to see you succeed. So with that being said, you have a wonderful 2 weeks. And we'll be back again in 2 weeks for another video. May you always know that you are loved, you are honored, you're needed, you're wanted, you're amazing. You just are uniquely cherished because of your uniqueness of who you are. And don't ever, ever forget that. Much love. Many, many, many blessings. And we'll talk to you guys again soon. Bye.